Your brain is not as active when you are talking with somebody over Zoom than it is when you are talking to them face to face. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Psychology for Every Day, the channel where we take a common sense approach to topics and issues that affect all of us. I'm Dr. Laird Bridgman. I'm your friendly neighborhood psychologist, here to talk with you today about an article from 2023 entitled Decoding Zoom, How Virtual Meetings Affect Your Brain. I know, interesting, right? Before we get into that, let me just say just briefly, this is a community service channel. So all funds generated by this channel do go back into producing more content. All we're trying to do is to raise awareness, maybe to help somebody who otherwise might not be able to either be aware or get help for themselves. So if you'd like to help somebody, you can help us do that simply by hitting the like button. And if you'd like to hear more of this content, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Now to the article. So this is from Yale University. The lead researcher is Dr. Joy Hirsch, and then a bunch of colleagues. And they did a study that highlights the physiologic differences in processing social interactions between interactions that occur face-to-face and interactions that occur over Zoom. So they're actually looking at what happens to your brain when you're talking to somebody virtually versus when you're talking to somebody in reality. Now, we've all experienced that thing called Zoom fatigue. I think everybody knows that word now. So the idea is that, okay, that's not just because of eye strain, right, from looking at, screens for a long time. That certainly can be part of it. But as Dr. Hirsch points out, that the interactions over Zoom create what she calls an impoverished social communication system. There it is. Couldn't find my notes. Compared to face-to-face meetings. So if it's impoverished, what that means is you're not getting all of the information that your brain is normally expecting to get during a social interaction. And there's a lot of data that your brain is relying on in order to understand, interpret, and respond to the person that you're talking with, right? Some of those factors, for example, are like eye contact. So in virtual meetings in particular, those are really bad for eye contact. Now, a setting like this, where I'm not trying to really look at your face, I'm really trying to look at the camera, it gives you the illusion that you're making eye contact, or at least I'm making eye contact with you. Now, if you were on screen with me at the same time I was, having this conversation, it'd be hard for me to look at my camera and look at you because you would be down there. And so then you would be looking at me, looking at you, but we're not making eye contact. So that's part of the impoverished communication system, right? Our brains aren't getting the micro expressions that happen. We're not getting that synergy of communication that eye contact brings. And there's a bunch of factors that go along with that. The location of sound, when we're in person, my sound comes from over here, right, to you. So your brain is processing it binaurally through both ears, and there's a distance, and your brain knows that there's a distance. But if you're listening on computer speakers, they're not coming from where the face is, right? So the sound is displaced. Or you've got headphones on, which is better, by the way, than just listening to your computer speakers. But still, it's a qualitatively different experience. So there's a whole bunch of reasons that we're not getting enough information for our brains. And so what that results in is a decreased level of activity overall in the brain. Your brain is not as active when you are talking with somebody over Zoom than it is when you are talking to them face to face. So is it no wonder then that you are at least bored, if not out and out fatigued after a period of time of trying to have a conversation with somebody like this, or have classes, or to do work projects this way? It turns out we're just wired differently. So the article, I think in summary, it really emphasizes the importance of face-to-face contact in our lives. We are social beings, and so we need to be around other people. I know. Yes, the COVID thing happened and lockdown happened, and we have entire generations of young people who grew up at a time where they needed social interactions and they didn't get it. There are some people that are now socially avoidant when they really should be working very intentionally at overcoming their fearfulness or anxiety about being around other people. And this article highlights, number one, why it happened to them that way. And number two, the fact that this needs to be addressed. And we need to consider this as we move forward with our use of technology. So what can you do today if you're suffering from Zoom fatigue? Let's say that you're in a job where you work from home and you spend a lot of time on the computer, either without people or in Zoom meetings directly. Then there are some things that you can do. So I have 3 ideas for you. All right. So the first is to choose face-to-face meetings wherever possible. If you have the ability to choose to work at work instead of work from home, work at work. You'll be healthier and happier for it. There's a whole bunch of research that goes with that that's beyond just this phenomenon of the inactive neural pathways and the Zoom fatigue. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that supports the idea that working at work is better for you. So if you can choose face-to-face. Secondly, if you are in a job or school where you have to do the majority of this time online, then you need to compensate throughout your day. So every 60 to 90 minutes, give or take a 5 or 10 minute break and do something active. So walk around if you can, like take a walk around your block or just out in the street and back. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be exercise. You don't have to go get all sweaty or anything. Just you need to move. And if you can, see a face. So yeah, maybe a walk down to your local coffee shop for a cup of tea. Maybe not coffee all the time, but maybe some tea or something. And at least, hang around people and try to talk to some strangers maybe. That could be fun. And then the third idea is to intentionally create new social interactions and relationships wherever you can. Now, so one idea is like, okay, if you just don't have any that are just at hand, you can just call up somebody. Like, okay, if you have those relationships on the shelf, good, use them. Take more meals together, right? Go grab lunch with somebody during the middle of the day, meet for somebody after work for dinner, something like that. But if you don't have those, make some new ones, right? See, people are social beings, and believe it or not, most of them want to meet you as much as you need to meet them. So one idea, for example, is pursue a hobby, something that you're interested in, something you used to do, or maybe it's something you've never done. Even better yet, that's neurologically good for you. So, for example, maybe how about that guitar or that piano that's in your house that is dusty and you haven't played in forever, right? Whatever instrument you're into, let's say. So, okay, sign up for some lessons, but do it with a local music teacher, right? So you go face-to-face with them instead of signing up for a virtual course online. Nothing against those. Those are fine for other purposes. But if we're needing to offset Zoom fatigue, you need faces and you need live interactions with people. That's a good way to do it. Plus, you get a double benefit from live music and learning something new, and those are all good things as well. So it could be sports, it could be group activities, it doesn't matter, just as long as there are faces around you that will interact with you. It will be a positive and good thing for you and your mental health. Okay, so last point for you. How do you know when you've had enough, right? To offset the Zoom fatigue? Well, the first thing you should do is create your own, what we call subjective unit of distress scale, a SUD scale. Now, what you do is you want to find that fatigue part of your brain and you want to rate it, right? So let's say 0 to 100. And 100 be the most fatigued you've ever been. Let's say the longest work week of your life or the longest school week of your life. And that's your 100% worst ever. 0 would be none at all. Then see if you can find a day which is give or take in the middle. So something which is about 50% of worst ever. And then try and find something which is halfway between 0 and 50%. That would be your 25% thing. Write the days out. See if you can find specific events that have good memories attached to them. And then write them out so you don't forget them. And then one more, 75%, right? So that's the time when you were definitely more than halfway, but definitely not 100%, right? And so that's your 75% day. And there you have a SUD scale. And then once a week, probably the end of the week is the best time to rate how impactful Zoom fatigue and lack of real life faces has been having on you. And then if you want to get really sciencey with it, you could probably also take it on, let's say, a Monday, and then compare Monday to Friday, right? You can see definitely what the impact is of your work week, or if your work week is, Tuesday through Saturday, like whatever, it's flexible. And so that's a way you can track and see if you are taking well enough care, let's say, of your most important organ, your brain. All right, listen, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. For those of you that made it this far and you've not pressed the like button, surely now this has been worth a like and subscribe. All right, have a great day.